you have this idea, this concept of how a team plays, when you do actually throw in a totally different main tank, as long as they know, how to integrate themselves into that structure, and I imagine O2 Blast is a team that has prepared around Kaiser as well, that it's very difficult to adjust your play style to how different a different main tank actually makes a team. So O2 Blast could really catch Gen.G off guard with a difference in play style and certainly in the tempo that they take these next couple of fights.
You see they sent Oberon on the Sombra just to kind of get a feel of what's going on. Hey, you substituted a player. Are you doing some weird stuff? But probably not. Dive with the Sombra far, just like we saw on Eichenwald, which they did see some success right over the top. Wecky is already going to start to pressure down Krong, and he's not going to get chased off, not even getting Krong's attention. You're not even worth it. But two players now from Gen.G have broken through the barrier, and O2 Blast now adjusting their position because of that.
Yeah, avoid the chip damage as much as you can so you don't have to rely on your Lucio and Zen to heal it up, as well as your Brig health packs. You want to keep those for the best opportune times. They're already going to lose Krong, though. Gen.G's composition is working again.
Yeah, Wicked has only been firing at Krong. The DMAG very important. Now they want to engage towards the point. Wicked won't be able to party as much on the point. He'll just be outside, kind of like the bodyguard. He's going to have the barrage soon. So if O2 Blast don't win the ground war, they're going to have to suffer against this barrage.
And we're seeing Gen.G just taking advantage right now, and Rain and Joy unable to rejoin the fight. Kaiser's going to have to open that up for them, as Proper is going to be taken down.
Oh, solo barrage and then the clap back. Taking care of Proper is big, though. A lot of DPS can come from the Zarya. The first free take does go to Gen.G. We'll have EMP. They're using Valkyrie currently against the Transcendence of Joy. They actually were able to resurrect Weckid in the middle of that, and Oberon is down. No main shield for the attacking team. They do walk away with a take. They're taking a lot of time to either decide if they're engaging or disengaging. Probably trying to work around Stalker's EMP.
Oh, they already ripped out Joy from the equation. Stalker, yeah, they still have the EMP, but they need their tank in play to actually be able to engage onto the point. They're going to instead wait for Wu Yao to come back up, because if Oberon drops in there by himself, they're going to force Primal instantly. So best bet, you get everybody back up. O2 Blast don't have time to set up here, and they're really going to be relying on both Rain's beat as well as the Earth Shatter from Kaiser to shut stuff down, and the EMP could disallow that.
Oh, but the barrier comes out from Rain, whether he was out of sight or just used it before, and there's the Primal. You do not want to be near edges against Oberon, finding two. Probably going to smack Dan's or Joy right back to spawn, not his own player. And now that'll allow Gen.G to get point A, and O2 will be setting up for B.
Still honestly, a much better performance than what we saw from them on Eichenwald. So they definitely seem to have readjusted and adapted to the playstyle that Gen.G comes out with that dive. Now, because of the fact that Gen.G is making all these swaps, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to actually cap out second, with that typical momentum push. So Gen.G expected to take a couple of pushes, pull a couple of ults out from O2 Blast, then really go for the jugular as it is.
This might be a dry push. We all gonna self-destruct actually from mid, throw it up top to actually dislodge O2. And you can see how split O2 are a little bit. 3 are on the high ground and 3 are just joining them back. Wow. And because of that, 2 of their supports are out. So really great start engagement from Gen.G, but with Assault Point B, O2 Blast gonna have the closer respawn. So Gen.G gotta take this momentum and they gotta roll with it.
Look at how Kaiser just got completely taken out instantaneously. O2 Blast, they have ultimates, but nobody's really on the point to benefit from them.
Wow, and Wu Yao's just messing up the backline. Dance just used Transcendence, and a bit of a stall from Joy's Transcendence as O2 Blast try to find another opportunity to engage. 4 minutes and 20, second tick, looking at the third. Gen.G coming up to another round of ultimate shatter to just stop that Hammond from rolling around. Speedy little guy, Proper's grab. He's the only one that can feed into it, maybe with a couple supports. Weckid is the first to fall for the offense. Oh! Still a very winnable situation when the defense just steps off.
They had the Lucio there, but he sped off to go deal with another target that wound up getting low.
A thing.
Yeah, but unfortunately they step off in 4:05. Somehow, with a full swap coming away from that DPS composition, they're able to capitalize, and a really, really solid play initially. Look at Kaiser getting ripped apart because Joy was already taken down. No Transcendence to keep him safe.
Well, there was also a Weckid stun as the Brigida that he got behind him as he got booped around, opened up that shield and insta-burst, and meanwhile Wu Yao is micro-missiling the spawn. So it's just Gen.G were were so good at just taking everybody out from O2 Blast who were coming out of respawn. And Gen.G 4 minutes and 5, that's still a very solid time bank.
Yeah, we're going to see O2 Blast now on their attack. I'm sure they've got to feel kind of frustrated at this point, right? Because they're down 0-2 in the set. They had a decent defense kind of coming together at the end there. And I'm thinking O2 Blast, you know, they have to feel at least a little bit down about the fact that they, you know, did just step off the point. They had the ability to actually close that out and get a fight win just before Gen.G was able to cap out. But now they have to, you know, let all of that go away. You have to completely move on from that. You have to move forward, and you have to do your best in ensuring that you're able to get a good time yourself and maybe turn this map back around. O2 Blast with the 3-3. We've seen them do well versus really, really solid opponents with this composition. And then now bringing in Kaiser, you have to imagine they're going to be able to turn this back around.
And Oberon on this defense for the Winston, it's less about hold the door against Kaiser. It's going to be hopping into the backline, see if he can disrupt that, use the Winston bubble to cut off the resources and win it out that way. You can see he's going to be around the doorway looking for the opportunity, gets stunned, gets the bubble, drops it, and then hops on out. Also a great use of the dive tanks, being able to disengage quite quickly. First pick for the defense. Now up by 1, they're looking to finish off the rest of O2.
These trades are definitely going to favor O2 Blast, but they have to make sure that they're taking advantage of them early. I mean, Gen.G can just start jumping all over O2, and if they win these fights out, they're buying time for the rest of their teammates to actually come back from respawn, and that's obviously not an advantage that O2 Blast can take advantage of. So when they come back into this, I imagine O2 Blast is going to want to be aggressive here. They're going to want to look for an opportunity to isolate a target and rip them down quickly before Gen.G can hit their resets, because if Primal comes online for Oberon, that's going to be a big struggle.
Especially near edges, which is what we saw in their previous attack. O2 Blast going towards the right. They know that's not an area that Oberon can easily dive into. Might want to dislodge them there. There's a nice boot from Wuyal getting the D.Va out, boosters up. So, I mean, Krong's going to get back to the rest of his team.
We're going to see Stalker holding onto that Graviton. Primal very close for Oberon, and O2 Blast don't really have a solid win condition.
Well, there's the Grav, using the bubble to separate the resources. Kaiser's still alive, but pretty low. And now the rally starts from Arrow to give them a little bit extra armor as they engage towards the point. Oberon, as you said, using the Primal to divide, disrupt the composition here of O2. Getting Krong out the pin is going to get him pretty disrupted. The Transcendence used to save Kaiser, who put himself out of position during that pin. And now you have Wuyal, who actually got a double kill to self-destruct while everyone is playing out in the backyard. Gets the double kill, and that's perfect for Gen.G's defense.
That was O2's fight to win, and Kaiser set everything up beautifully. He pulled Oberon completely out of the fight, and then they were able to actually isolate the Winston right after, before we saw, you know, any kind of Transcendence wanting to even be pulled out. But O2 Blast fall victim again to Wuyal, making massive plays. And now Gen.G, they have both support ults. They have the Graviton coming up here. O2 Blast, I don't know if they can win this one out unless they get an exceptional combo sorted here with 125 remaining.
It has to be this grab, but like you said, 2 support ultimates from Gen.G to defend against it. Can Krong have that amazing self-destruct that he did on Lijiang? They actually get grabbed first by Stalker. Proper dies with grab. Minute 12. They have another fight, but they're still investing ultimates here, Heurix. They got a barrier out. Kaiser used the Shatter. Krong used self-destruct. O2 Blast are investing a lot, and now they have to reset.
Yeah, and on top of that, Gen.G, they do, of course, have both the barrier as well as the rally and the shatter coming online. O2 Blast, they have Transcendence and rally, so they should be able to sustain this fight for a pretty long time. But if Gen.G use the beat to actually speed engage alongside the rally, they can get behind Kaiser and expose him.
Oh, Oberon, though, he's going to be looking for the shatter, disengaging, goes towards the left, finds 2. Great peel for the moment. Gen.G don't want to be too aggressive with this, holding on to Fuse's barrier. They're about to get rally. O2 Blast taking some time, less than 30 seconds. This is their last fight. To be full held here would just be a killer. This is their last chance to stay alive in the series. Going forward now, Gen.G are about to have Grav before proper, and that might just be the end of O2 Blast if they don't defend went against it. Kaiser's shield is low. He uses the counter shatter. He's half health. Krong is barely alive. And Gen.G are just rolling through O2. Oh. This was a matchup that was supposed to be close. And Gen.G seconds away from taking the 3-0 over O2. And I can't believe it.
This looks like a completely different O2 Blast than what we saw last week. It seems like Gen.G have kind of found the formula to being able to contend with O2 Blast at the team, again, that tons of teams have struggled with. And Runaway being one of those teams. Gen.G, exceptional play throughout. I mean, really solid play from Soccer. Wooyall, a hero again, reborn. Oberon, honestly, one of the best Reinhardt performances we've seen so far in terms of consistency with the Earthshatter. Really liking what I'm seeing from Gen.G here. They get the 3-0, and we got one more map to go.
One more map. It will be Rialto. We will see if O2 Blast can get on the board, because I'm not expecting a 4-0. I think O2 Blast still have something in them. We're going to go throw it to a quick break, and we'll see you guys on Rialto. Welcome back, everybody, to Contenders Korea. It's the 3-0 for Gen.G. Not what we were expecting at all. Both these teams were tied in the standings before this match started. Now Gen.G going to climb ahead, but there's still a fourth map of Rialto. That map differential matters. That's why they're tied in the first place. And this is going to matter for those standings at the very end of the regular season. Who gets into playoffs?
Yeah, so we talked about before how this is going to be, a statement match for Gen.G. If they can do well versus, O2, then realistically they have a very, very good shot at not only making the playoffs but also kind of earning it right now. And because of the fact that they're not only taking this win, but they're doing it so dominantly, I would say Gen.G have really bounced back in a big way, and we'll probably see a continuation, a progression of Gen.G, even going forward from this point. Obviously, they're playing a lot better than, they have in the past, but O2 Blast stumbling, I think, a little bit today as well, where we expected to see more from them, and especially from players like Joy and Rain, where it seems like O2 Blast have really been kind of a shadow of themselves of last week versus Runaway.
I think it's been a story of ult economy. If you think of O2 Blast trying to get towards point A, they had lost a member early, 6 versus 5 for the defense, and they used every single ultimate that they can, and not in even a coordinated type of way. It was like a self-destruct over here, support ultimates, double support ultimates right away. It felt pretty panicky from O2 when I felt with a minute 20, you can at least hard disengage and then go in with your full 6. So maybe O2 Blast kind of panicking, and you can tell in their reactive type of play style.
Yeah, and I mean, even remember last week they did lose on Hanamura as well. We might be able to say, hey, maybe it's not their map. They're not as prepared for this, and this is going to be a tough 2 weeks for them. Yeah, because of the fact that it's back-to-back Hanamura. But as we move into Rialto for this next map, this is a map that they did lose to Jisoo Busan Wave on week 1, whereas we did see Gen.G taking the loss to MVP Space as well when they played it. So both of these teams 0-1 on this map going into it. But again, based off of the performance that we've seen out of Gen.G, going into this where we expected to see alternative win conditions based off of Sombra and the like, as well as, the Mei that we got in the first map, Gen.G, it seems like they could just take the 3-3 and it's fine. That's how it seemed so far.
Yeah. Yeah, you were saying at the beginning that O2 Blast seemed like the stronger GOATS team, while as Gen.G, up there in the GOATS, but they have other options in terms of DPS, and we've seen that actually work successively with Stalker and Wicked on the Pharah and Sombra, and equally here, you could see the return of snipers, even Creative coming in. He, I think, played Hanzo at some point, I believe on Junkertown possibly. And again, this could be a possibility for Gen.G on either defense or offense. And even Stalker on the Sombra could return. So we'll have to see what they opt for.
Yeah, typically Creative is their Zen player, but he does have a lot of that flexibility that you're talking about. So if they do want to play, a quad DPS startup on first point, that's an opportunity for them. I'm not sure if Gen.G is a type of team that does want to do that on first point, just given the fact that they could just play the 3-3 here. But either way, O2 Blast, they do keep Kaiser in. They're keeping that same roster selection that we saw from them on the last map on Hanamura. So they're going to keep Kaiser in play here. Gen.G, again, like you said, bringing in Creative does offer them a little bit of depth, whereas Dance is probably their Zenyatta specialist. Creative does offer a couple of alternatives for them to play off of the Zenyatta as well.
And usually Gen.G will play Glister on these map 4s for that double sniper to go with either Creative or otherwise. But let's see what they come out the gates with. Stalker also has a secret Hanzo that we don't know of. Gen.G, though, with that somber type of GOATs, giving up that Diva as usual, again, for information and that game-winning ultimate of an EMP.
This is also going to relieve a little bit of pressure from Oberon as well, where Kaiser, if he's expected to be aggressive and, go for Oberon extensively, then Stalker can relieve that pressure by turning their heads constantly by being in the backline and putting pressure on the Zenyatta.
Speaking of which, it ignores the half HP Lucio, goes after the Zenyatta. As O2 Blast, they spotted out the Sombra, they try to go further, they catch Wuyal, they catch Fuse when they don't have speed to disengage, so great heads up play from O2 so far.
Yeah, really taking this a little bit slower as well. This is definitely a tempo change from O2 Blast where, if you do expect them to be super aggressive, super high tempo, they're not giving that away to Gen.G. They're trying to make sure that they're getting intel on Stalker before they actually engage, force the translocator out, and take that 6v5 advantage whenever they can get it. You saw O2 Blast really instigating a lot of their aggression once Stalker was forced to translocate out of that last fight.
Also, that Wuyao is usually their Diva player, and he's flexing onto the Zarya. Usually you'll have your Diva player be the, the Sombra, but it's cool. He can do anything. But Gen.G on the high ground currently. O2 Blast kind of taking some pressure from the back. Stalker recalls with 6 HP. And now they break through this L wall area where O2 Blast regenerating health here for Kaiser. And working up towards a grab here is the defense that could be catching Gen.G off guard.
So they're just waiting for Stalker to come out. But when he does, he's going to have the EMP.
Oh, crushes everyone from O2 and mainly catches the supports, but not Joy, who used the Transcendence, but unable to survive or to help Kaiser and the rest of the team. They're quick at disengaging, and they'll probably have one last fight before A.
And when they do come back in, they will have a lot to set the fight up with, too. I mean, they're going to be able to engage with Proper's Graviton. Surely Gen.G is going to be able to sustain through that, but buying time is O2 Blast. I mean, that's what they want to go for here.
It's going to be grab to grab almost. Wuyao's very close to his, and a rally engage from O2. They go forward. They use Proper's grab. Self-destruct on top of it. Doesn't convert the kills they're looking for, and Wuyao using his own grab. More successful. High energy has Oberon hammering into it. That will be point A for Gen.G.
Yeah, unfortunately for O2 Blast, they just didn't have the support ults they needed in that engagement. Gen.G outlasting O2 Blast. Again, it was all about just buying time there for O2. They weren't going to be able to win that fight unless they got a lot of lethality instantly from Proper's grab, and they just didn't find that early enough. Now, from the high ground, Gen.G, they're going to have, I believe, their D.Va on. It actually is their Brig, so they can't take the high ground fight because, you know, someone like a D.Va pushing the cart can go up to the high ground and contest that fight with the rest of the team, whereas Brig is stuck on the low ground, so Gen.G just pushing from the low ground now.
And whoever drops down, there's a shatter opportunity. Stalker, though, tries to go for a hack for Kaiser, so he's a little sketched out. He's kind of looking, okay, where did that pesky Sombra go? But now, Reinhardt's being very aggressive, pushing. What a boop to actually get Kaiser forward. He gets low, and the shield starts to break for both teams. Now, oh, he tries to go for a shatter play. Kaiser, I'm not even sure if he got it down, but Oberon got an even bigger play, wipes out the rest of O2, and they'll get closer and closer to the end of point B.
The big change I'm seeing from O2 Blast is, you know, their ability to take fights. Maybe Gen.G, yeah, they're winning a lot of these fights, but O2 is taking a lot more of them and thus taking away a lot of the time bank that Gen.G has historically had in this setup. So Kaiser engaging very quickly, EMP at the ready for Stalker.
Oh, he translocates up. EMP drop, but it doesn't catch Rain. He barriers, but they're down by 2. Not the greatest engagement, not the defense they're looking for. They just want to die on the card at this point. Actually, it's earned from Gen.G, so now trying to disengage, and there goes Oberon like a train, finishing off the rest of O2, giving themselves even more time to push the card.
And you can see how aggressive Stalker is being, too, trying to take the 1v1 against the Zen, just getting a little bit of extra charge as Joy, of course, is going to just, I mean, Joy is going to be getting most of his health back through the shield regen, so that's no support ult charge to O2 Blast. So that's a fine trade to take.
Gen.G are going to have both support ultimates. O2 had to use the barrier. An unsuccessful fight. There's a grab from Wuyao. Only catches one. Both are actually the self-destruct from the defense to zone out the re-engagement. Gen.G got caught in a grab as well. They survive it for the moment. Rally and Creative's Transcendence used earlier. Now only a barrier from Gen.G, but no support ultimates for O2 except a rally. So it'll be up to Oberon, see what kind of shatter he can set up as the team comes towards him. The barrier's used from Fuse. Oberon swinging away, catches Kaiser out of position. As a free shatter slips it down. There's the entire team of O2 Blast on the ground, missing their oxygen, back to the spawn room, and Gen.G flawlessly pushing this offense with almost a 3-minute time bank at the end.
Continuously finding ways to exploit and basically expose players like Kaiser, players like Villainy, the Reinhardts just getting thrust away from the rest of the team and just stunned out. They can't move, they can't do anything. Nobody can support them because typically they're even behind line of sight as well. And again, Gen.G taking advantage of those opportunities. You can see how Oberon saw that he got thrown to the side, and that's just an easy earth shatter that he can take advantage of.
And it's not the first time we've seen Kaiser just thrown around the map, and it's the plays that maybe Fuse or there's actually no D.Va that's booping around, so it must be Fuse. And you gotta maybe see that same kind of setup from either Krong or Rain on the Lucio to boop Oberon into these awkward positions.
Yeah, you got to basically start doing the same or finding ways to better, you know, protect your Reinhardt, better insulate him with the rest of your team so that he isn't getting thrown around. And I think a lot of times that is going to come down to bubble timings as well. You don't want to have your Reinhardt exposed without the opportunity to throw out that projected barrier. When you do see someone like Wikid, someone like Fuse going over there, or even Oberon just getting that, nice swing, if he does manage to get, over to his left side and he does get that second swing where it does kind of throw you really far to the right, those kinds of things you have to be on the lookout for as a Zarya so that you can keep Kaiser, keep Villainy up in these engagements.
And you've seen sort of the power of Stalker on the Sombra, opening up these plays. And yeah, you give up the D.Va, you can't eat the or have the potential of eating grabs. You maybe can't set up these boot plays as much, but Fuse has been doing it just fine on his own. As O2 Blast out the door is, we'll see if they stick with the double sniper. It might just be kind of a scouting move at the moment, spotting out maybe the goats and also possibly seeing the Stalker, maybe not seeing him because he's invisible, but knowing that it's coming out because you don't see a D.Va.
So Stalker going to be kind of abusing the high ground here, I think, because O2 Blast can't reach him. It's going to come down to Krong actually getting away from his Reinhardt to be able to deal with Stalker. And again, that just opens up the opportunity to go for Kaiser without the D.Va there to DM any of that pressure.
I feel like Krong has to give more pressure to Stalker, like you said. He needs to prevent all this pressure onto Kaiser. Drops first. It's actually a 1-to-1 trade now favoring the defense. Yeah, Krong's got to spend more time spy checking, and having Stalker on that behind O2 Blast on that attack kind of made Kaiser forced to go into that small room, so he wasn't going to get hacked from behind as they move towards the cart.
This is just going to be so tough. I mean, Gen.G can basically just do this forever, right? I mean, if O2 Blast don't deal with Stalker, he's going to build EMPs for basically every single fight. And now we see O2 Blast try out that adaptation that we saw them use on Control Center back on Lijiang Tower, our first map of the series. Joy is now on the Ana, and they're going to look to try to shut down the healing of Gen.G.
Perhaps a sleep could also, if you nail it onto maybe Oberon, who's not paying attention. Another opening pick as now the EMP drops from above, nails absolutely everyone. Kaiser always the first to drop. There was so much pressure onto this new main tank player of O2 Blast. There's been multiple consecutive fights lost for the offense.
Oh, this is just not looking good at all. Gen.G just taking advantage of what's been given to them. I mean, on a silver platter even, O2 Blast has really just not played at the level that we saw them playing last week. They just haven't, and they've really struggled versus Gen.G, particularly against Oberon and Stalker, who have been playing phenomenally. And now we're going to see Gen.G coming into this next fight with the advantage of having their Graviton at the ready, and they can catch, basically everybody in O2 Blast with that. And there's no Zenyatta to protect it. There's no Transcendence available.
I was gonna say maybe a counter anti-heal, but it doesn't heal your team as much as a Transcendence. Wuyall grab at the ready. Of course, no self-destruct, because you got Stalker on the Sombra, throws it down, see how much damage the rest of the team. Okay, Oberon, that's a wall. But the rest of the team are still having a lot of issues. Even they hacked Joy, who couldn't heal, or I would say couldn't heal, but couldn't throw down an anti or a sleep to counter any sort of engagement. And all the Shatter to take care of the rest. Oh my god, I thought he was going to fly off the map for a second. Meanwhile, Gen.G holding this defense down to the last minute and 20 for O2 to make something happen.
And you still have to worry about that EMP. You can answer it with your beat if Rain can stay away from the EMP range, if he can go around a corner, line of sight it, do something, and then maybe that can give you an opportunity to drop that grab and set up a couple of kills. Although it's still going to be so difficult, Gen.G could just go for an aggressive engagement here and build their ultimates off of the exposed team members of O2 Blast.
There's the EMP actually drops and it catches Proper, who can't even use the grab. Can they survive for the moment? But the offense misses their main shield. Kaiser is out. Seeing they're retreating a little bit towards the payload. He'll get back pretty quick. Spawns are decently close. But now you have Wuyall's grab to worry about, as Proper's grab didn't amount to much. But one last engage for Gen.G to hold A, and this is the last fight for O2.
Yeah, Gen.G have 2 win conditions now, right? They have the EMP and they have the grab. You can't contest either when they come out.
I think Stalker got slept and they dealt with at least the Sombra for the moment, but they got to deal with this grab from Wuyall, hammering away. Oberon needs everything he can get, but Joy's going to give Kaiser an even bigger boost with the nano boost. Self-destruct from Wuyall to maybe ward off some reinforcements, but it's actually not a one fight from O2 yet. The Shatter's blocked from Kaiser, and you got the supports popping off from Gen.G. This is their second full hold against O2 Blast, and they will take the 4-0 over O2 Blast.
That was a really aggressive adaptation made by O2 Blast to go into that with the change of Joy going from Zen to Ana. If you're not getting those really clutch biotic grenades and setting up your team for very aggressive fight takes, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to win fights because EMP becomes a problem because all you have is beat to stay alive there, but then also the grab becomes a free fight win every single time for Gen.G, so they can just take that time and time again, and every time an EMP comes out, you can even build into your grab because there's no shield, right? So there's nothing to protect the damage from the Zarya. Tough fight to be taking there.
That was a sick shatter from Oberon that I must have missed during all the chaos to get both supports out. And I thought really O2 Blast had an advantage in that fight because they had slept Stalker and they got a 6 versus 5 at the start. Then you got Oberon coming in like a train, shattering the supports. And that's maybe something I think Villainy did better when he was the main tank. And not saying, not comparing Reinhardt's or anything, but Villainy did block a lot more shatters that Oberon put out. And that's all I got to say.
I mean, honestly, I think Oberon really exposed O2 Blast there. I mean, Gen.G as a whole really did that. Stalker had a great performance, whether it be on even just the Zarya or the typical pick that we expected to come out throughout the day of the Sombra. I mean, going into this matchup, we expected Gen.G to rely on the Sombra just to try to get map wins. But not only did they get map wins, they got the series win. They stomped out O2 Blast, it seemed, and Stalker did it both on the Zarya as well as the Sombra.
It's Lijiang Tower and Eichenwald was such a better showing from O2 and Hanamura Rialto. It's like they weren't the GOATS team that you were talking them up to be. This is O2 Blast who took Runaway to Game 5. This was a top GOATS team, and to see them get crushed by, even in a GOATS matchup versus Gen.G, even against the Sombra, it felt like Krong didn't know how to play against that. I felt like he wasn't spy checking, he wasn't pressuring Stalker, and Stalker was the one pressuring Joy, who was often not being able to do much against that.
Yeah, that's also where Gen.G had great preparation going into this as well. I mean, you look at the way that O2 Blast played a lot of that 3-3 with the Zen defensively on maps where we see a very close respawn for the attacking side, very far respawn, of course, on hybrids for the defensive side, and you can take advantage of that by playing that dive composition, play the Sombra, play the Pharah, chip away at the defending team, especially a defending team that doesn't get very aggressive, holds back inside and then takes a little bit of chip, then really engages hard and aggressively towards whatever could be the exposed target, which probably would have been Dance in a lot of those cases, but not taking advantage of that, Gen.G just are able to roll over O2 Blast in this series.
Absolutely. I was very big fan of seeing Gen.G try out everything from the Sombra goats to normal goats to even some DPS that worked successfully. They didn't have to swap to goats in panic style, but that is the 4-0 for Gen.G over O2 Blast. But we got more Overwatch, everybody. GC